The Greater Houston Partnership, through One Houston Together, completed a regional assessment of Houston organizations to measure progress in diversity, equity, and inclusion. This assessment focused on 3 areas: racial and gender diversity in talent representation and senior leadership, DEI best practices maturity, and supplier diversity. With support from Boston Consulting Group, the partnership created a tool to help private and public sector leaders, including CEOs, heads of talent, diversity, and procurement, to better understand the maturity of their own organization, compare performance with peers, and learn about best practices. With only a few clicks, leaders can analyze the workforce and talent pipeline by race and gender. Then they can look into details across seniority levels and across industries. The dashboards provide insight on how organizations in the Houston region perform across 15 best practice categories from the Global Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion benchmarks. The DEI Maturity Score can be used to understand the relationship between racial and gender diversity outcomes and maturity of DEI practices. For example, the dots in the upper right represent our bright spot organizations, who self-report higher DEI maturity and have above median racial and gender workforce diversity. On the other hand, the dots in the lower right represent organizations which requires further examination into why their high DEI maturity isn't translating to optimal diversity outcomes. We can filter by industry as well. Minority business enterprises vendor spend is one of the major ways to ensure our diverse communities thrive. This view provides procurement leaders with insights on supplier diversity. We can deep dive into number of MBE vendors and share of spend with MBEs. The tool is part of One Houston Together's commitment to using data to empower businesses and the public sector to reduce inequities and maintain Houston's place as a great global city, one that does truly offer opportunity for all.